September has been National Recovery Month, and coincidentally, we've heard several celebrities speak out on their own recovery, either on their own social media channels or in the press, and it got me wondering, ultimately, are these celebrity stories any good for us? Are they helpful? Are they hurtful? Are they neither? Are they somewhere in between? And since it's been National Recovery Month, I thought I'd check in on my own ups and downs. What am I succeeding at? What am I failing at? Let's get into it.
I'm JT. I'm in my mid-30s, have a 10-year media career, and nearly a decade of sobriety. So how did another middle-class kid turn into a blackout drunk and a heroin junkie? More importantly, how did it change, and where do we go from here? This is my story.
So oftentimes nowadays, you will see either celebrities comment on their own social media, or you'll see them comment in the press, like say maybe through an interview on their sobriety. And this is happening more and more. And by the way, overall, I think talking about sobriety is great. I'm on the record on this channel on this many times. But the more it's been happening, the more common it is, the more I have to ask and wonder, what are the nuances of this? And what is the best way to do this? And what are we missing as this happens? And if it keeps going forward like this, what is at stake? So the biggest thing I've noticed, and this month we've heard from Chrissy Teigen, we've heard from Kit Harington, we've heard from Tim McGraw, we've heard from Patricia Heaton, lot of celebrity sobriety stories in the news over the past month. And again, I think anyone getting sober is awesome, and I think it can help people who are out there, regardless of where the person is in their sobriety. Just talking about it, just admitting it, just talking about our flaws, really, I think is super beneficial. I wouldn't be doing this video if I didn't think it was ultimately helpful, but it's about the nuances now, right? And a thing that I keep seeing is that there's a rather shallowness to how these celebrity recovery stories are treated in the media. I guess that's no surprise. The media treats pretty much everything with a certain shallows, right? But it's National Recovery Month. We've got all these celebrities that are going through these sobriety experiences, and that should be great. So it's got me interested, and I'm digging in. I'm thinking about, okay, which one of these stories could I do a video about? And I keep going, is there really anything here? Is there really anything here? Just me talking to the camera and saying, oh, so-and-so is sober, and so-and-so is sober, and happy sobriety birthday to this person. I don't know how much good that does. So something I keep seeing, number one, just an Instagram post of, like, let's just put me in the situation for a second. What if I got myself all done up hot, imagine, or I got naked, I don't know, and airbrushed the photo, and I was like coming out of a pool and you could see my butt coming out, right? And at the bottom I said, I'm so excited. I'm 10 years sober. I couldn't have done this without da-da-da-da-da. This person in my family is the reason da-da-da. How much would you really get out of that? Again, surface level, great that we're talking about it. Great that someone out there can see that someone's succeeding in sobriety, and hopefully that could lead them to be more open to it. But I don't know how much depth there is there and how much help that we're really giving there when we've got all this access, when everyone who is sober has the ability to dig in more, right? They could go direct to the camera like I'm doing now. And then on the other hand, when you see these stories in the press, and this isn't necessarily any fault of the celebrities themselves, but I keep seeing the same things when the press cover these celebrities and their sobriety. And I keep seeing a reference point to an aha moment, like, oh, my spouse shook me and got me sober, or I looked at my kids and I just couldn't imagine that I wouldn't, that I could be like this, that I could be a drunk and a mess the rest of their lives, and what would they think of me and all these things. And I feel like the press, again, not to say that whoever the celebrity in these stories didn't elaborate more and the press just didn't comment on that, but I see this focus on the aha moment. It's almost like a sort of existential reveal, but it's really not that deep when you think about it. Like, the idea of the presentation is this deep thing, But the reality for me and my experience in sobriety is that existential aha moment may get me to a meeting. It may get me to rehab. It may get me to reconsider, but it doesn't get me to stay sober. It doesn't. It's really sad, but it's the truth. I see it time and time again in a decade of sobriety, and there's a lot more people who have a lot more sobriety than me, and they've told me through the years how much this happens time and time again. You've probably heard the adage, no one can get you sober but yourself. And so the nuance there is that, sure, I do believe that an aha moment, like I just said, could get you into sobriety, to get you to test the waters. Very famously in my own family, my grandfather finally, after many, many times in many rehabs and many institutions, finally got in the rooms to get sober when he was threatened with not seeing my cousins or me and my sister anymore. And that was what finally got him focused. But sadly, this disease is such that it will take away all of our loved ones and our cares. And no matter how much on the inside we deeply, deeply want these things for ourselves and for our family, in the end, it's got to be us. It's got to be us that wants to do it, because this disease is so wild that I will quickly forget all those friends and family who loved me so much and who I wanted to do it for, who got me into the rooms, because I'm an addict. And my addict brain, my need to fill that hole in my soul with drugs and alcohol is sadly way stronger than the love of my family. That's just the truth. And if you're an addict and you've had some amount of experience, you're probably nodding your head right now, because you know it is the sad truth that addiction is way stronger than love. You know, you've heard since the beginning of the time that nothing's stronger than love. Addiction is stronger than love. I'm here to tell you. And there is a very sick and twisted and specific kind of love between the addict and their drugs. But again, as I've talked about many times, it's not really about the exact substances, is it? It's about what's going on beneath. So as I'm looking through these celebrity stories and go, okay, what can I take from this? What can I take from this to bring to the audience to really dig in and find something to move forward on in this National Recovery Month? And as I'm going through and I'm going, man, I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling this shallowness. I'm not feeling this depth to it, the way that we're covering things, because we're not ever hearing, or not enough hearing, about the steps that we're taking in our daily lives to stay sober. Again, hearing about the aha moment, hearing about the wife and the kids and not wanting to lose that picket fence, not hearing about getting down in the grime and the day-to-day. And I get it, it might not be as interesting, but that's why I'm doing these here, because I'm doing these videos whether they ever get enough views to give me a single dime. I'm doing it because I believe in this stuff, and I believe in the nitty-gritty and the reality of getting sober and what that looks like. And so as I'm going through this and I'm searching for something, I came across this fantastic article. And I want to shout out the writer. It comes from thepublicopinion.com. The writer's name is Megan Brink, and she did this fantastic article on National Recovery Month. And the headline of the article is, Recovery from substance abuse is more than just sobriety. And there's a lot of great stuff in here, and I encourage you to read it. But this was the key paragraph that really just spoke to me in what we've been talking about, in the shallowness and not getting enough depth about our journeys in recovery. Here's what she says. She says, recovery requires actions rather than intentions. I'm going to repeat that. Recovery requires actions rather than intentions. How many times in a single video do I say something like that, right? And she puts it way better than I ever could, which is why I wanted to highlight her, because I wish I could have said it this well. Talking about the action, the steps, the little things that I have to do every day to stay sober, and not just stay sober, but have a fulfilling life. She goes on, positive thoughts will only get you so far. Again, these existential aha moments that the press focuses on and these celebrity recovery stories will only get you so far. positive affirmations and intentions can be helpful. Again, the people who love us around us, who are supporting us and giving their all to try to help us get sober, they can be helpful, but substance use disorder recovery requires actions. Keeps going back to the action. I love this. This is my whole world. This is more than just my sobriety. This is my life. It's all about action. My greatest joys in life, my greatest successes, my greatest fulfillment as a man on this planet has come from taking action. Not from thinking, not from feeling, not from reading, not from writing, not from doing a video, not from my job, not from my family. It comes from taking action. Taking small daily actions, is this person my soulmate? To improve your lifestyle and work towards your goals. Now, this is the other thing I grant, because this is the other thing I talk about, is like, it's not just taking the action of recovery stuff, right? It's taking actions to make myself better, stuff outside the recovery arena, because they will ultimately work hand in hand with each other. To improve your lifestyle and work towards your goals, such as walking for 15 minutes or signing up for a new class to keep yourself busy, is the only way to move forward. I think these are great examples. I've talked about some of these myself. And I try to talk about the little things that I'm doing in my daily life to try to move forward and take that action. And it's not just about the physical nature of doing, right? I think ultimately, like, the physical nature of doing it helps me and gets me out of my head, and that's the first start, right? And it's greatly, greatly beneficial. But doing these little things to better myself gives me so much momentum, and it gives me my own self-affirmation. Again, stuff I don't have to think about, stuff I'm just building on. And I want to do a better job in this whole National Recovery Month and her article talking about the celeb stories. It really wanted me to get to check in with you a little bit more. I'm going to check in today about the little things that I'm doing, the little things I'm doing right, the little things I'm doing wrong. There have been countless things that I've been trying to do right for 10 years since I got sober. Some of which I've done a really good job on, some of which I'm still not doing right. But one thing that I started doing back in the pandemic was reading every night. And I'm not always perfect at it. And I haven't read as many books as I've wanted to, because I just got like really out in front of my skis and like picked these crazy long world history books and stuff like that. But one of the things is, like, I was never really interested in history. And as I grow older and as I get more involved in my community and my own life and building my life and my home, I start to get more interested in it. And I just feel like I wasted all these years in college being a drunk and a drug addict. So I should really get into this stuff. And another thing is, if you look at like a list of CEOs or like really high achievers, you will see on so many of them that they were either history or English majors in college. And so I got like all these great world history books, and I'm just plowing through them as fast as I can. I love biographies of like big achievers, like people like Steve Jobs or Phil Knight, or my favorite, Bob Iger. It doesn't mean I agree with all these people. It doesn't mean I agree with their politics or their way of life or anything like that. I just love insight into people who are high achievers. And so this is one of the things that I've done pretty well over the past while. You know that I'm crazy about my exercise. I probably do that too well. I probably should maybe find ways to do less of it so I can fit in some of this other stuff. But it's so important to me to getting my right headspace. The problem is, after I do it, it's hard to do anything else, which is why I usually save it for the end of the day. But I want to squeeze all this other stuff in. What am I not doing well? Well, I'm not doing great on my meetings lately. And again, it's been very hard for everyone since COVID. I mean, my own home group, I mean, it's like 1 week we're only doing Zoom. Then we can go back into regular meetings. Then the church is closed because of, the COVID spikes and everything. It's really hard to get back in a groove. But I still need to do a better job on that. I need to do a better job with my volunteering. I've reached out to this place that I'm really excited about. That could potentially be a long-term volunteer opportunity for myself. But that's something I need to do a little bit better of. I've been donating a lot, but I don't really get the same thing out of it as when I'm in the flesh doing stuff for other people. let's see what else has been going on. I've been doing really well with my family, actually. I've been checking in. I've been spending a lot of time with my sister and her kids and my dad, my grandparents. I took a week of vacation just to go visit my grandparents. I'm so lucky to still have them. On my dad's side, got to see my mom's side grandparents at a big family reunion. I'm really committed to that part. And I'm really thankful that I get to have it. I know so many people, since I don't have my mom anymore, that is a motivator a little bit too. But I'm not doing great on other levels of personal relationships. My struggles in the dating world. That has not gotten any better. And I've got this weird thing going where I'm like, part of me wants to figure out a way to make myself more available. I need to go to new places at new times and I need to work less and all this stuff. But on the other hand, I am a big believer in if I just do the right things, if I just do the next step, the right things will come to me. So that's why right now I've been trying to fill my life even more with all this stuff that I think could be really beneficial, like meetings and like the reading and the journaling and doing these videos. So, those are some of the things. One thing that I really, really have been wanting to do, and because I honor these traditions, I won't go too deep into it, but I do want to work the 12 steps again. I haven't done it since the beginning. It's a pretty common thing for people to go through it several times, be going through it all the time. And it's something that's been on my docket for a while that I haven't done that I need to do. So anyways, I just wanted to check in on some of the things that I've been doing well, some of the things I haven't. I've been getting better with my sleep. It was a real kind of awakening for me to do that DNA test and find out that it's not exactly my fault. I have this night owl thing that's actually part of my genealogy. But then it's figuring out the things that will make my sleep better, right? Now that I've realized it goes back to the old recovery adage of it's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. So I got to figure it out. And I don't get enough sleep. And I think my life would be a lot better if I did. But my eating's been going really well. My exercise has been going really well. I need to fit these other things, the reading, meetings, and volunteering, and figuring out other ways to inject other aspects of my personal life. And again, these are things that I have to do the work on. I can't just magically expect all my friends that I hadn't been keeping enough in touch with while they're raising young families and I'm a workaholic with a serious 5-year relationship. I can't just expect that they're going to all start calling me all of a sudden and be like, get over here, come on, do this, do that. They've got real lives. They're raising humans, So anyways, those are some of the things I'm doing well, some of the things I'm not doing so well. And let's get the mail. Mail today comes from Instagram. This is from Theo, and Theo's got a really heartfelt post, and I'm going to try to get through all of it. He says, after listening to a few of your podcasts, you have a new follower from Down Under. It's very nice to have viewers down under. Everything you have spoken about resonates so true with myself. I always attracted to the wrong type of man and always ended with a broken heart. Over the years, it became apparent that I was in the same circling pattern, chasing my own tail. So much love to give, but always the wrong person. So I stopped. And for the past 5 years, have been alone. Am I avoiding the opportunity of meeting the right person by deleting my online profiles, or am I just protecting myself from the inevitable? Heartbreak. I have worked on myself for so long and still doing so. However, I've come to accept that I will probably never meet the one. I fell madly in love in my 20s and thought he was my soulmate, the love of my life. He married a woman and had children. Till this very day, 20 plus years on, I still hold a torch for this man. There isn't a day I don't think about him. Maybe he is my kryptonite and the reason I can't move on with others. I have learned to live a life alone and have remained abstinent for a very long time. I still wish upon falling stars. May your dreams be fulfilled. Wow. Theo, thank you for being so open and honest. Thank you for bringing that to the table. I'll start by saying I am not a relationship expert. I'm not an expert at anything. I don't have any specialized degrees to talk about these things. So please, if you have a therapist or a doctor, please check anything that I may say against that. And, Just a disclaimer there. And usually people are not coming to me with sort of feelings and questions on love and relationships. I usually get the like sobriety and lifestyle stuff, maybe work stuff. But I do identify with a lot of what you're saying. And I think the best advice I could give is, number one, keep being open and honest about your situation. It's hard to do, but I think it's really important. And I think we can all do it more. And I commend you for doing that. Number two, I think there's always goodness in acceptance. So if you have come to accept that you're going to be alone, I don't think that's a bad thing. But I don't think you should shut the door on anything either. So let me just give you my perspective. Now, I'm only 35, so I've certainly got a long way to go and could and probably will meet someone that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. I'm really hopeful and believe that'll happen. But I have watched both my parents, who are adults. My mom's gone now, but she died single, and my dad is almost 70 and he's single. And I've gotten to see how, especially my mom, how great and how some of the best parts of her life spiritually, and I think ultimately we are all living spiritual existences, was when she was single. I've never seen someone surrounded by more love in my life on their way out who had been unmarried. My mom never really even dated again after my parents split up. And she was going through terrible health things, back into the workforce after nearly 15 years. She was pushing, like struggling to make it through the world every day. And she was so at peace with the love part. So I guess what I'm getting at is acceptance is a great thing. And for me, how I sort of choose to look at it is, if the reality is that I will be single for the rest of my life, and again, I'm only 35, but every day that passes, that becomes more likely, I'll be okay. I believe I'll be okay. I'm not closing the door to finding the love of my life or being in a relationship again or anything like that. But I'll be okay if it doesn't happen. And that's why I have to cultivate the things in my life that bring me joy, that bring me spiritual peace, that bring me satisfaction and fulfillment and love or partnership. And while I think it's important and probably key to human existence, I'll be okay if that doesn't come to me. And I believe that. So I hope I was able to, sort of expound on what you brought to the table, Theo. Again, I really thank you for doing that. If you would like to participate, you can, of course, comment right here on the video. You can comment on any of the following social media channels at any time. You can also feel free to DM me. If you want to DM and have a private conversation, that is open to you. And that'll stay right there. Anything that's on a public post is fair game to come onto the videos. But if you want to have a private conversation, that option is there for you as well. Okay, that's all the time we got for this one. We'll see you next time. Hey, family, if you like what we're doing here and you want to see more, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Share it with someone who you think might benefit from watching this. And feel free to comment below. Love.